Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 601. We are live tonight. It is Tuesday, October 29th. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Rob.
Hi.
And Phil.
It's Tuesday?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. And Christian.
What up? I thought we're on 602 now.
Oh, is it 602? I don't know.
I thought we did 601 last week because I made a deal that we missed 600.
I think I missed... I numbered it 600 or something because I think we numbered the one, the oof or something. And I don't know. So Paul was supposed to join us tonight.
So something Transformers related has a problem with numbering?
Oh, we gotta wait for Paul though.
He's not coming.
I want to wait for his.
He said he was gonna.
This.
I mean, he said he wouldn't be able to get online for 30 minutes anyways.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Something about kids or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway. So I went ahead and I was like, oh, I'm gonna randomly call Christian and see if he just picks up and is like, oh wait, we're having a show tonight. What happened? And that's what happened. So hi, Christian.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. You look very confused.
I am.
So I appreciate you, Christian.
I'd settled down to watch a movie and go through some stuff for TFCon, and now I'm here.
Well, there you go.
Oh, burning the midnight oil.
Well, hey, you know what? That's one of our topics for
10 o'clock.
tonight. Is TFCon. So there you go.
Cool.
So yeah.
So yeah, anybody hyped about the show?
What show? There's a show?
There's a show? Which show are
we
we
don't
talking
show
about? The
either?
show from Hasbro or the show upcoming?
TFCon.
Oh,
TFCon.
yeah. I should probably start to get ready for that, huh?
I'm all packed up. At least,
Wow.
well, not my personal stuff, but like my toys that I'm bringing they're all good to go. I've priced everything. I need to print out some backup price lists, and I've even stickered them. I don't know how many of those stickers will last, but at least most of them are stickered. You know, enough of the price stickers will stay.
I
Are you
bought
gonna,
my bags and stickers
Chew
tonight,
on them
so
during the
that's
trip?
tomorrow.
Why would they not last?
They fall off the bags.
Well, I mean, like some of them are on bags, some of them are just on the toys. You know,
They just fall off.
but it's like they're there, they're close, so it'll just be that much less to set up on setup night.
I may be still pricing on setup night, but I'm gonna try to get through it tomorrow and Thursday.
That's what I was trying to avoid. I was worried that and I'm glad I did go ahead and price them. I actually had prices for everything already, in a document. I'd already done all that. I just hadn't put them on stickers and stuff yet. But even just labeling them and putting them on the stickers took hours. I was watching YouTube and going slow, but still. 6
more boxes to go through.
Oof.
To pick stuff out. I should be able to get that done by tomorrow morning, midday. And then I've got, like I said, the bags and the price stickers. So as long as I can get them packed and then double packed in bags, packed in my car.
Yeah.
And I can worry about pricing later.
Yeah.
I will try to get it done before I go. We'll see.
I personally look forward to you guys having me help cover your booth and not pricing stuff, and then I have to just come up with something, when someone comes up and inevitably they will ask about a price on something that doesn't have a price on it, and then I'll just have to make something up.
Just make it up.
Me, Christian, and Orson are all sharing a row together, so we shouldn't have to call on you to cover for us to go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, but Paul, that's what I'm
right.
worried about.
He's supposed to be next to us, but we don't know how. He requested it, but we never heard yeah, sure or not. So we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, Paul
right.
likes to go on smoke breaks.
Gross.
Is there no vaping allowed, like on the show floor? Is that frowned upon?
Probably not. Around everyone's collectibles,
Right?
probably not.
Don't do it.
I don't think
Yeah.
Paul vapes. I don't think I've ever
No,
seen
he
him
actually
vape. I just
smokes.
see him smoke. Yeah.
Mm.
I got a text from Sergio Sunday night. He's like, "Hey, what time do you think you're gonna pick me up?" Because he and I are flying out together Friday. So I told him I'd pick him up on the way to the airport. I'm just like, "Oh, look at you, overachiever, trying to figure out what time we're gonna leave on Friday during Sunday night." Ooh. And then of course, like talking about it with my wife, he's like, "Yeah, so if your flight's at that time, who's gonna bring the kids to school on Friday?" I'm like, "Great question. One that we
Good
should
question.
find an
Good
answer
question.
to." Yeah.
You're like, I'm not really sure, but I'm not going to be there, so.
Yeah. I have a concept of a plan.
It's a her problem.
Yeah. No,
Which
I asked the
becomes
next
a
door
you
neighbor, so I
problem,
go,
like, next week.
Antoine!
What's up, Antoine? Oh, man, I'm excited to see Antoine. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to do at least a little bit of oof at the end of the show. I bought something I want to talk about that I think is
There you
cool, at
go.
least.
Not
We
mine.
haven't
name's
even
Rob.
had a
But yeah.
convention yet, Rob. You're buying
Yeah.
stuff. You're supposed to wait for the convention.
This probably isn't going to be at the convention. I've never seen this for sale before, ever. So,
Man.
Watch, there'll be 3 of them there.
8 of them.
So exclusive, they don't even
So-
sell it at the convention.
So yeah, I'm hyped to go to the dealer room and to set up and sell. I've done that the past few years. I started off just helping Orson, and then I started like slowly bringing just some of my spares that I would throw out on the table as room cleared up. But no, I really enjoy spending my convention that way these days. I wouldn't have earlier on, but I do now.
Yeah.
But
I
unfortunately, Art Fire's not going to be there this year, is my understanding. So like that's a real bummer. If you don't know who that is, his name's Chuck. He always brings like pretty much all G1 vintage Japanese stuff. And usually has a pretty big booth of it. And so it's fun to see even if you're not going to buy anything. So, but that's a bummer that he won't be there. Unless something's changed in the past month. But
I should ask Aaron if Richard's gonna be there. Do you know Richard from Wichita? Like he has a random eclectic booth of all kinds of like G1 Japanese stuff, like just all kinds of random stuff. But he has this like 1980s era Suburban that like he drives halfway across the country, and like you're not 100% sure it's gonna make it all the way to DC and whatever, and he'll just show up like without booking a hotel room, and then we'll figure it out once he gets to the hotel. He may have to sleep in his car. I mean, it's just like it's always an adventure.
Does he have to stop for gas every 30 minutes in that thing?
You would think so. Yeah, I think he has to like go inside, like the tank's so big he has to ask him to authorize more gas or something. But yeah, I don't know.
Jesus.
I'll have to ask because
You can get classic plates on that thing, I think.
yeah.
So- does anybody have a specific item or handful of items they're looking for in the dealer room this year? Anybody got a hunting
Great
list?
question.
I know you were looking at from last week, Christian's the Micromaster 6 teams, but
So
you
I
found
got-
some of those.
I got 6-liner, and I bid on the 6 builder, and I got outbid earlier in the day on Saturday when it was going to end. And I was like, that's fine. They'll send me a notification when it's about to end, and I can compete for it in the end. They did not send me a notification when it was about to end, and I was out doing stuff, so I missed it. So 6 builder.
Oh wow, look, Paul's here already.
Hey,
Oh,
Paul.
what's up,
Hey, we had
Paul?
a quick question for you, Paul. We weren't sure what number or episode this is tonight. Are you familiar with how to number and numbering?
I am, but I don't give a rat's ass what number episode it is.
Now,
Oh,
but
okay,
what
so you don't
if
care about
what if
numbers
you
on things?
accidentally? What if you number the same thing that's like a big number, or like a big release that like people would want to?
This is an
Would that be an
awful
issue?
segue. You guys want to talk about this for real?
We're in the middle. Let's talk TFCon first.
Okay,
let's
just stop from now. That means we don't.
We'll
need
get to Devastator.
Anymore.
We'll get to Devi.
We will devastate her.
Oof. No, thank you.
Yeah. So what's the thing with the numbering? I don't understand the numbering, Paul. Like, do they like? Obviously, Hasbro. Always
we just said let's talk about TFCon.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about a show.
Okay, all right. So here's the big question I have, because we kind of already talked about how everyone else says that they're ready. They have all their stuff priced, ready to go out the door, and all that. I'm a little concerned because I think supposed to like assist with some of these booths or whatever. Like, Paul, do you have all your stuff ready to go and priced and all that so that it will not be an issue during the show?
Priced? That happens like moments before the thing opens for me, which is
honestly
not smart.
After, like the first hour of the show is like, yeah.
I mean, I definitely have adjust prices during the show, especially if you get an hour to go look at the floor, and you're like, someone else actually has this thing I have, and it's a little cheaper. I need to come down $5-10, or you're on Sunday and you're like, I really want to sell a few of these items in particular. Start taking it down,
Yeah, Sunday's the day to get deals, Like that's why I think it's funny. It's like, oh, I'm just going up Saturday. I'm looking for a few things. I'm like, what are you doing? Have you ever been to a convention?
But,
I don't know.
Oh,
I go to too many.
The dealer room's weird this year. For a long time they've done pay like $50 extra to get in early for an hour. This year, according to the schedule online, early admission is at 9:00. General admission is at noon. That's 3 hours of the early admission only.
That's really great, actually.
That's awesome. Dude, that's actually unprecedented, because I went to TF Nation, all right, this year. I've been to too many conventions, and I paid, because I was going from the United States to the UK. I was like, I'm doing this as much as I can get of this as I can. So I did the early bird thing. And the line to get in was huge. I mean, it was like basically everyone going did the early bird thing.
Yeah.
Like at least hundreds of people. And thank God I did that. Because the line to get in for general, like it's a small room, and it was only an hour of early admission, but like once that was over, you knew it. Like it was, I just watched Aliens do that. It was assholes to elbows in there. It was crazy.
It's been like, it was that
3 hours
in Chicago last year. It was like that in Baltimore last time we were there. Not Chicago last year, Chicago 2 years ago. Baltimore last time we were there was crazy. So I think this is gonna be good.
It's gonna be like I remember previous years. It's like the 9:00 comes in, and there's people, but it's breathable, but you're busy. But then when general admission comes in, like the next 2 hours is a blur, of people buying stuff. So like, I think that'll be interesting how that spreads it out a little more, because, I think early admission, some people hear all those 3 hours of it. Not everybody's going to line up right at the door. They're like, I'll go in at 10, to avoid a little bit of the line. I'm wondering if it'll smooth out the day a little more. Or is it still just going to be, well, now noon to 3 is chaos or something? But
I mean, we're talking about this from a dealer perspective.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've been on the other side where, at least going in once general admission comes in, and it is just packed and it's hard to look at anything, So yeah, it's.
Well, I feel like it's kind of crazy in the morning just because everyone trying to get the exclusives. Now, I think they sell that like premium super pass where you can get it stuff the night before, right?
I don't know if they do that or not.
I'm assuming. I don't
they
know.
have in the past.
I'm assuming. Yeah, I could be making this up. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the admission stuff, but.
Oh wait, you're right.
Yeah.
Friday night, 6 to 7 is premium ticket registration and early access to exclusives.
Right.
So yeah, you can buy them Friday night.
If you absolutely had to have the exclusives, you can do that. Normally though, I mean, that's where everyone's going crazy, like when the deal room first opens to get the exclusives. And whatever it may be that, and I don't know, I guess they've had, how many exclusives have they revealed at this point?
Yeah. So that's 3.
Is it 3?
Well, Ocular Max.
It's 3.
Yeah, 3. So Ocular Max, Fans Hobby, and Make Toys have all revealed theirs, I believe.
That's the one I forgot. Thank you.
Yeah, another
Honestly,
Seeker
Oh.
Violets.
I feel like they're all pretty forgettable. I am
The
not
black,
jazzed about them.
the black Fatimus, kind of cool, kind of.
Like I think it's neat. I think it looks nice. There's just zero interest in it.
Well, it's like there is no Grand Scourge that's like the way it should be. You know, there's only like model kits, and there's they did that kind of kitschy one in Japan for Unite Warriors with the big sword, which was totally cool, but it's still not like Grand Scourge is almost like a fiction only thing at this point. There's hardly any pieces of it, so that's kind of cool to see. It's a deep one, but anything Black Optimus is usually a given.
What did Fans Hobby do for Toronto this past summer?
Clinch.
Okay. So yeah, they had been doing a pretty good stretch of like Machine Wars era.
Yeah.
The
late Euro G1.
Yeah, exactly. So this is an interesting segue
Pivot.
from that.
Well, I mean, I guess if they're trying to, their Armada molds are, or the Unicron trilogy molds rather that they're doing, are kind of all pretty recent. They're probably trying to get some reuse out of those too, especially big ones like the Energon Prime.
Well, and there's Energon Prime is still a gap at this moment. You know what I mean? Like the timing is right. The Armada Prime, it's kind of I would probably stop making that.
Yeah.
And they've got their Wing Saber coming out, so they'll probably do a version of Wing Saber to pair with this at some point as well.
So is anybody buying this Fans Hobby repaint?
Someone asked me to mule one for them. Then I was like, if I don't have to stand in line, I'll get anything you want. I'll do anything for you except waste my time. So, and that goes for almost anybody. So I will see if I can get one. I'll get one for them, and I'm thinking about picking one up, which is pretty rare for me.
You like Prime stuff, and it is technically a Prime toy.
Yeah.
So
I might have other reasons to be getting one of those. So
okay. So yeah, next released was the Make Toys with yet another repaint of the Seeker. This one in blue or purple rather. I don't want colorblind.
How is that mold like not completely disintegrated into dust at this point?
I think it has. I think they've had to rebuild it or something just because they've made so many colorations of it. They're only making 200 of this purple Seeker though. So I mean that is a pretty very low run.
I think that the like other ones that they did, I think they ended up like having them after the show and having to sell them online, and they didn't really sell. I mean, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a slow sales type of thing. So has Make Toys actually released other stuff at this point? Is it just a Seeker?
Just the Seekers, man. They've said that their Target Masters or something were coming at some point. Like they started to like build hype back up. Like, hey, this is actually happening now. And everybody's kind of like, hey, man, if you need to keep rehawking this mold to get you to make some of the stuff people are actually interested in, cool. But it hasn't happened that I'm aware of.
I need to start a campaign to get those goddamn shattered glass Technobots finished.
Dude, those things aren't done, man.
No, nothing's ever. Never say never. Never.
For what it's worth, I'm at TF Source's site. All the stuff from like TFCon Toronto, and I don't know. There's a bunch of them up there. I don't know exactly which all exclusive or shows they were at, but I don't think you would have trouble getting any of them from the past year or two. The whole colorverse, that they call it.
I feel like what happened is there's like one dude with the mold that was like somehow friends of Make Toys that like took it and has a contact with the factory or something, and it's like just like literally this one guy that has like a couple grand or whatever to like run the mold and then sends them over here.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That guy exists. His name's Kurt.
So let me ask you guys a quick question on this subject. We are pretty big Transformer collectors. We know very big Transformer collectors. Do we know anyone that's collected like even half of these?
Not that they've admitted to it.
I mean, again, we don't know everybody in the fandom, but like the sheer fact that like the 5 of us who are pretty well connected and just like I don't know who's buying these things.
We all collect. We don't. I can't imagine that being in any of our collections. We don't. I can see Anna's the most likely one because it's weird. You know, they're like kind of oddities, but none of us are big Seeker collectors. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean like the
Christian
breadth
has
of
been
Seeker.
at times, but specific.
Yeah,
molds.
but I wouldn't do like that mold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
nobody
I say-
collects all
Day.
the Seekers, like every single one or anything.
When I say Seeker collector, like none of us are them. Okay,
Right,
like
right.
Even
none of
yourself?
us. Even myself. I thought I started it for a while and I was like, this is for the birds. This is a not healthy thing.
And so if
So,
they're making
I got
200
the-
for
Oh, sorry.
they're making 200 for this convention, some of the ones on TF Source's website, the previous ones, they have in the title there that they were limited to 300, and at least one of them was also only limited to 200, the previous one, and they're still available on the site. So like,
Right.
they aren't flying off the shelves anymore. You know.
They did sell. I know that some of them sold out at the shows though.
Yeah, but then I think they had
Well,
more stock that wasn't at the show.
Like the G2 Starscream that they released at TFCon, the first TFCon LA, but I mean that was years ago. That was before Masterpiece.
I had a
like
really
the
cool
new
package.
Masterpiece Seekers that came out.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was huge too.
Yeah.
Because like they tried to do like the card back style thing, and they're doing it with an MP scale toy, which means very very
They did
big.
that with Jazz and Inferno too, and those were also huge.
Yeah, I remember I tried to get Paul to mule Jazz for me. He's like, "You got to buy Starscream and Inferno too." I'm like, "Never mind.
Yeah, I'm out."
I just wanted Jazz."
I had a buddy, Robert Barajas, sent me that. He's like, the box is huge. I'm like, whatever. And when I got it, I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't really need it that bad. If I would have known, I would have said, forget it.
I literally could barely fit that in my carry-on luggage, like the big suitcase or whatever. So
Yeah, I brought a Jazz back from Canada when it was released, and I was like, why have I done this?
that it was
Still
cool
have it?
Jazz. I liked it.
It was cool. I never opened it, and I ended up selling it.
Ah.
But,
That's
that was
one
in
of,
my
like, the few
transition away
older-
from Masterpiece times.
That's one of the few older third parties that I kind of like. I wish I got that back in the day.
Probably not
Didn't know
hard
me
to get.
then.
It's pricey.
No, and they do have TF Source has Highbrow up for pre-order, and it says it's coming October 2024. Imagine if Highbrow was released at the show.
Wow.
That would be, not as an exclusive, just that's where it,
See, Rob, here's the thing, though. I was laughed at by the cast a year and a half ago when I said, hey, the Chosen Prime has Make Toys Highbrow slated for a June 2023 release. And everyone on the show laughed at me that night, saying, like, yeah, that's not going to happen, Phil. That date is not real. And
Why is that? Explain to me, as a third-party Luddite, why is that a big deal?
well, they've done, they've done Chrome Dome and Hardhead already. So Highbrow is 3 of 4, and it's been years since they did that. So you've got people in the fandom who are like waited half a decade for like to get the 4 MP scale headmasters.
Yeah, it's a no one else has done it. No one else has picked it up. Fans Toys started advertising. They haven't released, I don't think, any of their headmasters, but they started with
they
Chrome
did.
Dome. Did they? They didn't release Chrome
Fans
Dome, did
Toys
they?
released the Decepticon ones.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the 3 Decepticon
Not the
ones, but-
Autobots, but
Yeah, sorry. I was talking about the 4 Autobot ones. That's why. It's just because they released it forever ago. There was so much hype for their set of headmasters, and they got halfway through and stopped. And it's not like anybody else has picked up the charge, to give us those. And most stuff has, like, especially like seasons 1 through 3, almost everything has a Masterpiece representative, other than like some of the combiners. Yeah, we have like 18 versions of Devastator, but no one will touch Computron. So,
I mean,
Except Make Toys, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say we've
that
had
ain't MP though.
Computons.
Not
Right.
MP scale.
Actually,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like if you're going after MP scale headmasters, let's say Make Toys finishes theirs. Like take Fort Max and Scorponok out of this. You've got 3 different companies that you have to have the toys for. So you've got Fans Toys with the Decepticon headmasters. You've got KFC with the Monstercons, Snapdragon and 8-Face, and then you've got Make Toys with the Autobot headmasters. And then the Target Masters, who do we have?
Make Toys, didn't they? Aren't they the ones
What
that did
about Fans Hobby?
Cross, or they did one of
Blank.
them. Point Blank, yeah.
Point Blank, yeah.
Fans Hobby did the Headmaster Juniors.
Yeah.
At least the Autobot Headmaster Juniors, but like they're totally just stand-ins. You know, like they don't aesthetically fit with the Masterpiece scale
That
at all.
Night Beat is terrible.
I don't know if I thought it was. Well, I have Minerva. I don't have Nightbeat. I bought them just because no one else is talking about them really, but they're totally stand-ins for me.
Let me ask you guys, what do you think we'll get first? Fans Toys Fort Max body, or Make Toys Highbrow and Brainstorm?
None of those will ever happen.
I could see maybe one day Highbrow comes out, but Brainstorm on top of it, man. And I think that Fans Toys Fort Max body was always just kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke. Like, would people go for this? You know, and it's like, we're just kidding, unless you think we're not, you know, type of bluff situation. But the Cerebros was
I'm
good.
just waiting for someone to like do like a 3D print of the body and start selling that.
Oh, like the dude who's got like the 3D print of Metroplex in his bedroom?
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's one last exclusive, which is MMC's continuing on their is it Baldigus Ruination?
Ruination, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks good for what it is, but it's like, you know, if you've been collecting that set, I feel like it's expected, you know.
I think it's the second one. I could be wrong. I'm vaguely interested in it, but again, I don't do third party anymore, and I don't do Masterpiece anymore, so
Yeah.
I don't know why I would get a third party Masterpiece.
There would be the only reason you would buy this is just because that whole set is a bunch of really good Transformers. You know, Ocular Max and MMC, they always just have some of the best Transformer designs. They're usually very intuitive and they're not fiddly, and you know, tolerances are good, and that whole set's a really great set of Transformers. So they're great toys, you know, but I don't know if they fit with anything that you buy, and they're going to take up a lot of space. Like in the Masterpiece world, that combiner is actually on the small side. Like some people think they don't scale for that, but
Don't try to sell me on it, please.
I'm not. I'm trying to tell you not to, but they are good toys.
I've heard. I think if the all built-in combiner series ends up doing a Computron, they're gonna get me.
Well, can't because they're busy doing Devastator like everyone else. But I think the Devastator looks the weakest of all the combiners that they've talked about and shown as well. I think
Yeah,
theirs
but
looks the
if-
weakest out of even the MP Devies, which is a shame. But they're doing the all-in-one thing, you know.
Whose does?
I really do
MMCs.
like Ruination.
MMC.
I mean,
But
just a
what if
cool
you-
combiner. That was like the big combiner when I was coming up. It's like Ruination and Rail Racer and Landfill. That's like my dude.
Those are
So like,
yours.
Right.
yay! I'm excited. I wish I would like. I have the Unite Warriors Ruination, and I really like it. So I think I'll just stick with that.
Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't get the Unite Warriors Ruination, because that was, I think, a better looking toy than Bruticus was.
Well, it
Bruticus
has.
is going to
it has
the
the
for
feet.
sell pile this year.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a little tempted by it because one, I think they're good looking toys, the Ruination, but I would only buy it to keep a version of those toys because they're such good toys if I was getting rid of the G1 one that they did, because instead I might get the Magic Square Masterpiece scale set that they're doing. So like I might swap out what the G1 representation is. But the Magic Square one that's coming out right now is tune colored, not show colored, which really just affects the combiner parts. You know, so it's this very complex, you know, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme
Did you
here. You know,
Did you mean toy colored?
yes. What did I say?
Tune.
Sorry.
You're like tune instead of show, and I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means I'm having a stroke.
Okay.
But yeah.
God, call the paramedics.
So would
call the
anybody
tune.
with any of these various Bruticus molds make a Battle Gaia that I could finally buy?
It surprises me that no one dips into that, because like the colors are different. You know, it's not like Guard City where a lot of the colors are pretty similar. Like
Kinda
Hotspot's the big
similar.
difference, but the rest aren't.
Blades
That's
is
drastic.
different.
It's got some blue.
Groove is first aid's the same.
I think
I'm surprised that Unite Warriors didn't do those two. Honestly, I'm surprised.
Yeah, actually, you're right. That I thought you were talking about third party doing a
I
deck
am
like
also, but like, I'm surprised Unite Warriors didn't do it, and Rob is surprised that none of the third party versions have done it.
I'm not surprised none of the third party companies have done it because it is those two figures are some of the most obscure Transformers in existence. Like most people, they think they see them, they're like, oh, look at that KO. I saw that at KB. It's like, well, you didn't,
No, you
dumbass. But okay, fine.
I'm not surprised that the MP people haven't done it because it's such a big investment for such a low interest. But like, I'm surprised like the Magic Square Legend size don't do them where they're more affordable.
I feel like it's like whenever we say we're like, oh, why won't Hasbro or whoever do it, and then like they release Black Zarek that is like super clearanced everywhere because it doesn't sell. So.
Well, when they're releasing these new Age of the Primes and whatnot Combaticons, you better believe I'm getting doubles so that I can make my own Battle Gaia this time.
Well, that'd be awesome. As soon as you make a custom of your own, you will will it into existence as officially being made by somebody.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right.
I'll take that bullet.
Are there any...
I got to interrupt the show. I have to go ahead and do my oof right now, and you will understand why. And then we'll get back to TFCon.
Do it.
This is not a sanctioned oof.
Wow.
I bought a knockoff Guard City.
For still less wow.
Yeah, like off of eBay, and for what it's worth, this wasn't cheap either. But it wasn't like the thousands of dollars. It was after shipping and tax, it was $500. So that's what I paid for a vintage knockoff of Guard City. The stickers aren't applied. It has all the parts. The baggie isn't even opened, like with all the the extra parts. I can't get all the toys out. They're in the styrofoam so well, and it's like, oh man, I don't have to get something to wedge the styrofoam out to get them out. But other than the box, obviously having some wear on it, like the set's really nice. I don't know. I did it.
That ladder in that package is insane. I love that. It's like swing.
Yeah. It's really ballsy as well. The box is here for a knockoff because it uses the real names of them. It even it says Fortified City though, not Guard City. And on the back, it's the same. It's actually the same art and everything that's on the real one, including it has the different modes you make. Like if you make them like this, it's attack mode or chase mode, that type of stuff. And this was relevant to our conversation last week. You won't be able to see it on here, but the little art up here, again, it's on the original. This is actually the Micromaster 6 teams fighting each other up there in the little art. It's but yeah. So I finally have a Guard City.
Baby.
Yeah. So I'm never going to buy the real one, right? So this is as close as it gets. And for what it's worth, the toys are like G1 quality. It's a knockoff, but they're not big lots of knockoffs. And they I got
to point something out, Rob. I'm really sorry, but Christian just gave you the head nod, and he looked just like the meme of the zooming into the dude in the forest. He's like
the Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah. It was when you something you said, we need to rewind that and look at it later because it was awesome.
And that actually goes well with it. And I've had this for years. My Battle Gaia knockoff, which also it wasn't cheap. It didn't cost me as much as that did. But I can't remember. It's been too long. I don't remember what I paid for it. And it has also the same stolen box art, but everything's in Japanese. Yeah.
Are those from the same company? Do you know?
I don't think so because this one has a lot of English on it, and English as well. It even says Transformer on it. on the side. That's how ballsy this knockoff is. It says Transformer. But and free joining. It means like Scramble City. But now this one is like all Japanese text, and the box isn't as copy and paste. So I don't know. But it is also a high quality knockoff. Like it's like G1 quality, other than the stickers are trash. The Guard City has weird stickers on it too. The factory applied ones are weird. But then it also has an unused sticker sheet in there that I'm not going to use. Yeah.
What a surprisingly relevant oof that was.
That's why I was like, I got to interrupt. Like,
Yeah.
we naturally got into this. I gotta bust it out. So that's
Now that made total sense.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
I have Guard City now. That's close enough for me. I'm checking
just
it
wait
off.
to see that they will have an actual Guard City at the show. That you'll just be like, all right, I gotta do it.
I mean, I've seen Guard City at the shows, but it's like thousands of dollars, and I just can't bring myself to do it. It was $400 and just $100 after shipping and tax added on to it. So it was just like, I'm doing it. It's like I have so little to buy in my G1 collection that this is gonna be the best Guard City that I'll be willing to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So done. So yeah, there you go. That was my oof. Sorry to interrupt, but not sorry.
There you go. All right, Paul, do you have an oof to top Rob's oof?
No.
That's too bad. I was hoping. I thought you were gonna pull something out. Rick always does.
This isn't. Like I said, this is not a fully sanctioned oof. This is
Rob was excited to talk about his toy, and so he was going to talk about it today, and then it just naturally came up.
It's also not a competition, Lucas.
That's right.
When it becomes a competition, everyone loses.
By the way, is Rick doing a panel? I'm not sure. Like,
it's on the schedule.
We're doing a panel.
Oh, okay, nice. There you go. I was gonna say he's been so busy. Like, I haven't seen him like in the chat mentioning stuff. So.
Yeah, he has a Transformers fan design panel on Sunday. I don't know.
Friday, he and Peter are doing a panel on their
G1
rarities.
G1 vintage licensed goods on Friday at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Lucas, does our show have a panel? Did we ever get in touch with them about doing a panel?
No.
Do we ever?
No. Well, no, we actually had an idea for a
panel. Yeah.
But then we kind of forgot about it. So, sorry.
It's effort, man.
And listen, if no one showed up, that panel would suck because it requires audience participation. It's like a game show. We'll do it. We could do it next time.
We'll do it next time. We need to develop it more.
I had a moment of like excitement where I was like, oh, I think I can get this done. I can get this done before Friday. And then I was like, no, you can't, you dumbass. Shut up. We don't even have a scheduled panel time. It would be a big waste.
Yeah.
No, what you do is we can have a test audience this time, right? So maybe if you kind of think up some of the stuff now, workshop it with a smaller group.
Sounds like a great idea.
And like at midnight, we'll all think it's a great idea.
No, you mean 3 a.m., dude.
For 3 a.m.? Okay, sure.
It's a 3 a.m. event.
So is there anything... so no one here seems to be really super interested in any of the exclusives. No one really seems to have like a hit list of like a couple of things they're excited to try to buy at the show. Like in particular, like
so
Chris has got
I
kind of
want
a
to say that although I don't collect the MMC reformatted stuff anymore, I'm a little sad that there's not a reformatted exclusive. Because like that was like the hallmark of every TFCon, right? Like, I mean, and I don't know. Like last year, was there a reformatted exclusive?
Is that the Joker? The
Joker thing.
The Joker thing or whatever. Yeah. So like,
which
I don't know if there was anything at TFCon Toronto or not, but
did we know that? I got some juicy news. If there is going to be a Batman crossover
at the show, or no, official,
like in a collaborative crossover.
I assume the Batmobile,
Party Wallet.
Remold of Party Wallet. No, it's gonna be the Tumbler. Yeah, this is a real thing.
Oh, not the classic.
Not the classic. I know. It's kind of like but
I mean, the Tumbler's fine, but
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting news,
it's the anniversary of Batman Begins.
Oh.
It's like, I don't know, what is that? Is that 20 years?
20th?
It must be 20 years.
Yeah.
Good
Wait,
God.
hold on. That can't be true.
I thought Batman Begins was like 2008.
No, that's Dark Knight.
No, that was Dark Knight. Was 2008.
Batman
Yeah,
Begins
Guys,
was
that can't be 20 years
2005.
old.
Yeah, it was 2005 because I had been living in Chicago about a year, and I was like, oh, and I saw it in the theater, and I was like, I know
That's
these
Chicago.
places. That's my house.
He even cried about it, just like that, in the theater. He wept openly.
I'm crying right now that movie's 20 years old.
Yeah.
I do have more of a hit list, Rob. I'm looking for
Yeah?
a bunch of obscure spy changers. It's
Can
sort of
happen.
like my niche of collecting now, or United EX, also another obscure niche that I do.
What's United EX?
Power core combiners, but in Japan.
Oh.
You
Like,
know,
even
that's
power core combiners are kind of hard to find. Not that they're rare, it's just nobody bothers.
Yeah.
which, that's the mark of the beast in the future.
Yeah.
But what's weird about TFCon is, like, I don't know which vendors to expect other than Chosen Prime, TF Source.
Agabus is usually there?
Not
But-
anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh,
Seems like
because
they're
they
back on
compete
now.
now.
Yeah.
I hope
So
Transformerland is there. I haven't heard one way or the other.
Since Artfire's not going to be there, I really hope Transformerland is there at least, because they always have a real good setup for vintage.
that's most likely for me to buy anything is if they're there. But they were at BotCon. Doesn't mean, vendors can do both.
For
Like,
sure.
I'm doing both. I mean, you would think Transformerland would be at every event that is Transformer sanctioned, you know what I mean? Or Transformers centric. But, life gets in the way. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know who else to expect to be there. We might get a lot of like rando vendors that are just selling their collections, which is always the best because you never know what you're going to find, which is what most of you are bringing, and that's going to be cool. But other than like the crazy art stuff that's in the, like the artist alley stuff, that's kind of more what I expect from TFCon. I never know who's going to be there to sell stuff. By the way, Aaron Archer's going to be there, so that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's on my hit list. Is I want to get one of Aaron Archer's sketches on instructions. I mean, I've seen some of the new ones he's done. Like, he did a rail racer that he posted. It's like, that looked really good. The colors he's using for those are they pop so well. So that's on my list. I want to see if I can get like a video with Michael Bell for my boys, because I've got a lot of the Rescue Bots voice cast, not a lot, but a couple of the Rescue Bots voice cast members to do videos for my boys. And Michael Bell did was it High Tide? I'm blanking on the name right now. But yeah, he did a voice for that show. And then I'm doing Frank Welker signing on Sunday, of which I'm like trying to dig around to see if I have something I want to get him to sign, but I already might have had him sign it. And if he did already sign it, then I got to figure out something else.
He can
That's
sign
cool.
it twice.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you had anything, if anyone was going to do the Welker signature.
Yeah.
Thing. That's cool.
I'm good. If I don't have him, if he has not signed it already, I've got a season 1 Futurama DVD set that's got a ton of autographs on that. And if he's already signed that, then I'm going to go and order a Ghostbusters season 1 box set.
Wait, neither of those are Transformers. He did stuff other than Transformers?
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of stuff.
Just
You
a
ever
couple
look
of
at his
things, I
IMDb
guess.
page?
Yeah. I don't have time to read that, man. I'd rather read War and Peace. You finish that first.
No, like the whole thing I want to talk to him about, and I didn't talk to him about it when I met him at BotCon years back. The whole thing I want to talk to him about is like, you terrified my childhood. Like, the boogeyman from Ghostbusters was like the preeminent like nightmare fuel for my childhood. So yeah, I just want to discuss that with him briefly.
So you don't want to get another Transformer thing signed if the Megatron is signed?
So I've already got him signed my Transformers the movie DVD. So I got him, Cullen, Sue Blue, Micro Machine Guy, maybe one or two more on that. Yeah, beyond that, I don't know what I'd want him to sign.
I mean, he's done so many characters that there's more than just Megatron, that he can do. Any Galvatron, Soundwave, the cassette guys.
Yeah.
God, who else did he? Well, I mean, Galvatron from the movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question: do you think it would be appropriate to get the concept art Megatron signed by Frank Welker?
The Bumblebee 86, not 86, the Bumblebee concept art?
Yeah, because it never existed, but
Why
it
not?
is Megatron.
It's not
Like
inappropriate.
Christian's shaking his head no. I think it's just a dude's signature on a piece of paper. I don't know that it's super, that I would say anything is or isn't appropriate.
I mean, if you brought up Armada Megatron, that would be different. So
Be a
someone
little
else
weird.
actually did the voice. Yeah, but I mean, for a character that never had a voice and it is Megatron, then yeah, go for it.
Well, I've
he
just
plays
been-
the voice in that series. That character just didn't make it into that movie. So
Yeah, because what if you bought something in the past 12 months that you want to have, like something modern, recent, to have Frank Welker sign? There isn't anything.
Soundwave 40th anniversary.
Yeah, that's the only other thing. But most people I want a Megatron signature, not.
don't they release some color of that Megatron mold like every 2 months? Some new repaint of it.
Well, but would you that one again is not his someone else signed or someone else was the voice of that Megatron.
The Netflix
Of the most
Cybertron.
recent one. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I feel like if you were grasping at straws and you're like a new collector that just got recent stuff, you might try to get that signed by him. And I don't think that's bad. I think it'd be interesting because it's like the modern take on Megatron, but it's like you're saying it, he is Megatron. I don't know. Just I was wondering. Thought it was worth pitching.
I mean, yeah, it's not like what I would pick, but sometimes beggars can't be choosers.
It's too bad the Masterpiece rerun is not going to be out till next year.
Oh, rerunning that, eh?
Yeah. That's been that was announced a few months ago.
The problem with the
is.
Masterpiece is what do you have them signed? You haven't signed the box. Do you lug that with you?
I'm assuming. Yeah.
That's usually what people do.
And that's a good thing to get signed. It's a big black box. You get that silver pen, and it you don't necessarily need to
Stands
cover
out.
anything. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of anti-signature on this stuff, and I think that's mostly because Chris Latta's dead. So it's just my thing that I would want to get signed. Like when someone said once well, would you get Chris Latta to sign a Starscream? I was like, oh, that would be amazing, because he doesn't exist. But
Do you have access to his DNA? Can we clone him?
gross.
Just for this. Yeah, that's ethical.
But I guess I've started to kind of come around on this now that now that Peter's not going to be there. I'm like, that might be it. Who knows? He might not be back for this kind of stuff. And for the first time, once it's not there, now I realize the value of it. The emotional value of it. So I've started kind of thinking about this a little differently. And now, if Steve Buscemi is ever at anything, I am going to get in line and get one of these Starscream toys signed.
You'd be more likely to see him at a big Comic-Con than you would a Transformer show.
Yeah, if he was ever at C2E2, I'd be like, Phil, we're going.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the whole me getting his autograph, I'm like, I don't really care. The Futurama, if I had not have him sign my Futurama DVD set, that I do care about because that I've got a half dozen signatures already on that. But beyond that, honestly, this is more of just a chance to have a moment of interaction with them. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for with these, whether it's the photo op or the signature, is to have that moment of connection with someone who meant a lot to you when you were growing up.
Well, and you bringing a Futurama DVD for him to sign will stand out for him amongst the oceans of Megatron things he signs.
Yeah.
He'll be like, oh man, yeah, someone brought a Futurama DVD today. That was cool.
Yeah.
Dear Diary.
Well, and that's the thing is I talked to him about Futurama when I saw him at BotCon, because the first cat my wife and I ever fostered, the first little kitten we ever fostered, we named him Nibbler, which was his character's name in Futurama. He was Nibbler the Nibblonian. So yeah, it's Yeah, it's something that's just. I mean,
To your point, Paul, if anybody's interested in getting something signed by G1 Voicecast, you need to do it while you can. I mean, because they're not getting any younger. You know, we've lost multiple people at this point. Like I saw Buster Jones at his last show, which was like one of the Slagacons, you know, and you could tell then that like his age was showing. He had been to a BotCon earlier that year, you know, as well, and you could tell, you know, I mean, it's going to happen to all of us, right? So yeah, if you want something signed, I wouldn't stand on principle of like not doing it. You know, if you just want to meet and shake their hand to get a picture taken, you know, make sure to take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah, I guess 100%. And it's just this is like I'm an idiot, you know, like realizing once they're gone, like, oh, now it matters. Now I want it. You know, that's like when an artist dies, that's when their art is worth something because you can't get it anymore. It's the same principle, and it's going to be a sad reality someday. We're going to wake up, and that's, you know, the ship will have sailed.
Yep. Well, speaking of ships,
we're all going in one direction in this world.
Except the UFO.
Doing a panel as well. I haven't checked the schedule. I'm assuming he is. Because that's probably what I'll check out. Because I checked out Colin's panel when he did it, when he was there at.
He's having a Q&A panel Saturday at 6 p.m.
Oh wow!
So,
does the dealer room close by then? Because that'd be actually great. Then the dealers could go.
Dealer closes at 6.
That's really cool then, like the way TFCon set this up, because that means that like you're keeping people around at the show till the floor closes. So you're keeping people who like, hey, I finished like buying everything on my shopping list at 3:00 in the afternoon. Hey, guess what? I want to see the welcome panel. I got to stick around for another 3 hours. Well, might as well buy this while I'm here. So that's a good move on their part for being the placement of that.
Well, I also think a lot of the dealers are fans, and they want to see the big name draw as well. I mean, they are draws now. Like it used to be like, oh, cool, Optimus Prime's here. Now it's like I'm going to the show because Optimus Prime is going to be there. It has shifted a lot, and so as a dealer, I hear from my friends all day about cool stuff that's happening in the panel rooms. And like, did you see this? Did you see that? I'm like, no, I didn't see any of that. And so like. I guess maybe they get that feedback from other dealers. Like, I really wish I could have gone to this, but I was selling stuff, and this gives them a chance to get in there as well.
Like when those panels would happen, all of a sudden the dealer floor would just empty out, and it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to be selling anything for the next 90 minutes or so.
That's a great point too. That's probably part of. I'm just saying that's. I'm looking at the schedule like that. Like, holy cow, I could actually go to the Welker panel. Like, I probably won't be able to go to Rick's panel, unfortunately. Since Rick and Peter on Friday can go see it, that'll be great.
The only problem with
time, though, Antoine did point out that we do have the clocks turning back on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
So we get an extra hour of sleep after all our Saturday night debauchery.
And then the clock's going to go back 50, 70 years on Monday after the election. So
that's Tuesday.
Oh, is it Tuesday? Got a day off. I've already early voted, but
man, that's coming up. Oh,
yep.
Boy.
Yeah.
The third party panel is 4 p.m. on Saturday. That is hosted by friend of the show Ryan Sheehy. So,
is
if you're there,
this time?
Is it?
Ryan's
that's what
there?
it says on. That's what it says on the website.
Hey.
Great.
So yeah,
that's exciting.
I think we crossed into another dimension because Sheehy is praising this raisin of a Devastator on Facebook, and I've worked with him.
Oh, are you not a fan of it, Paul? Do you have opinions about it?
What?
Why don't you count off your gripes with it?
I've actually, like I told you, I kind of cooled off. I kind of cooled off on that thing. I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's not what I wanted.
Well, what is the thing? Tell people. Tell people what your gripe is.
What is this thing
if you're not as hot on
tell people your multiple gripes. I think there's more than one.
I'm just mad at Hasbro right now for a lot of reasons, and
I
think a lot of us.
You're just disappointed.
I am very disappointed, but I'm on the verge of angry for the stupidest shit.
At least
of all the most important things to be mad about with them right now, that is the least important. Okay, There's a
glad you're
Devastator.
admitting that on like a recorded thing here, because you've been very worked up in the chat about this.
Yeah, because it's private and I can be insane.
All right, well, stop interrupting him. Let him go. Let the man speak.
Okay. Well, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go. So there's a
Rob, are
Devastator
you trying
coming.
to tell me to stop?
Wait,
interrupting
there's a
somebody?
Devastator coming?
There's a Studio Series Devastator, a G1.
Who would have thought?
Looks like the spitting image of the movie one, right?
Christian, do you have the list of all the releases?
I wonder which characters will be in it.
Not handy.
I'm messing with you, because Rob would always interrupt your release list discussions.
That's what he does.
I know.
I ask questions. I'm not interrupting.
That's true.
Totally different.
He's just asking questions.
So yeah. So what's your gripe about the numbers? I actually don't even know what it is. I just know you're mad about numbering in the Studio Series line.
Okay, let's talk about the numbers. That's what I'm mildly irate about. First off, I don't want anyone ever again to call this Devastator, which I'm just going to stick with that for now, Studio Series 86 Devastator, because there's no 86 anymore. It's gone. There's no any numbers anymore. They're just the names of the characters. So,
And the name of the movie.
No, wait, is that box
No.
finalized, though? Or is that
Yeah.
just a mock-up?
Studio Series Constructicon Bone Crusher. Actually,
Right
no,
next
that
to
works.
Bone Crusher, it says Transformers the movie.
No, it does not. That
Yes,
is a
it does.
separate thing from the line of text that makes up the words that name the product. That is a secondary label.
It's stupid.
If I had a fucking diagram to show you, I would destroy you right now. But I don't have visual aids, so I'm just going to leave it. Anyways, there are no numbers anymore. And now we have 2 Voyager Studio Series Constructicon Scrappers. Although the other one has a number, so it's not such a big deal. But our first inkling that this change was coming.
What is Christian
It's
showing
right next
here?
to it.
No, though, see that little line in the between them? That is a separator. That
Yeah,
is
but it's
not
next
the
to it.
name of the product anymore.
It's not the. It's just. I'm telling you
It
that
says
it's
Transformers the
identifying where it's
movie
from.
instead 86.
Fight.
Are you a graphic designer, Christian, all of a sudden? Do you
Yes.
understand visual structure and layout?
The Transformers the movie.
All right. Well, let's agree to disagree.
Yeah,
That's where
let's
it's
just
from.
move on.
That's what movie
Yeah.
that guy is in.
But he's saying it's not part of the toy name now,
Correct. That is what I'm saying.
where the other ones all had the.
It is a
number as part of it.
logo. It is not words that make up the name of the product. Okay. So the first time we got an inkling of this was there's a Target toy coming that is a re-release of Overload, the Constructicon. It was part of the Power collection. This is on Hasbro Pulse if you look for it. Didn't really hear anyone talk about this, but it was kind of a big deal because I was like, whoa, that's a new box. That's crazy. And I was like, well, maybe this is some Target related thing, like it's Buzzworthy Bumblebee. It's the Power collection, whatever that is. We don't even know. No one has told. There's been no verbal knowledge of this yet. It looked cool. I was like, oh, but there you go. That was our first inkling of this thing, of this change.
Hey, Christian, does that say Transformers the movie on it? I'm just curious.
It says Transformers Revenge of the Fallen on it.
Okay.
It has the logo for that movie. Yes, it does.
And then what Paul's talking about is right there. It says Power Collection.
Yes,
Okay.
that is some designation of what we don't know.
So what I
Revenge
think,
of the Fallen.
are you saying, Paul, that the 86 line has been 86th?
Yes, I am.
86 was never a line.
Just correct. Absolutely correct.
Was that just a fan name for it? Or
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's numbering, so it's 86 1 through however many 20.
It's kind of like G1. Like G1 is still not a thing. Like there was never
Transformers.
it's just the Transformers. You know, now we've actually used G1 in some branding like post, but 86 was, you know, this the company uses it, the people use it in naming these things, and the whole fandom just knows what an 86 this is. And people will continue to call these things 86 this, 86
the
that.
product listings will likely say it too.
It might.
It'll be like TF4 whatever, 86 whatever, TF6.
The product, like the old all the stuff was done, you know, a year ago when all these kerfuffles started to occur. But all the solicits still say like 86 scrapper. 80. That's how they designate, you know, because they reuse some of these names so much. Yeah. Just like it says like DOTMQ, you know, like that's
TF3Q is what it would be.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it said. TF3Q. So where am I going with this? So the numbers are gone. Like there's no 86 anywhere to even apply to this. If you were going to call it anything, you could call it TFTM or the Transformers the movie, this guy. Still not absolutely correct, but it's better than saying 86.
Do you think, where do they normally put the numbers? Like, because like the main Studio Series line is into the 100 something, right? And then the 86 line looks like they're like into like what, the 30s maybe. Oh, so lots of times it's on the front as well.
Yeah,
so do we think they're gone completely, or there might still be a number on the side?
They're gone. They're out of there. I have scoured what's available, so I can have this
here's the question
argument
that I have for you, Paul, because we saw stuff in New York Comic Con for the Studio Series line, and you were upset with Studio Series Galvatron having the same number as.
That's the one that killed me today, though, was seeing Ape Link at being 116 again.
But here's my thing. Here's my question. Why are you so presumptive that this is the final box artwork that they're showing on these?
Well, because the printed samples at the show had that on it. That's mostly why. I mean, I would be thrilled if it showed up as what it's supposed to be, which is 32, 86, 32. That would be, I'd do a little song and dance if that happened. And maybe it will, but I think the chances are a wee bit slim. However, Christian, you just showed us 117 and that one. It seems like the Gamer Edition might keep the numbers for a little bit longer.
Is there a chance that the Takara release would have a different packaging?
Oh,
that
still has the numbers.
They're numbering different in the first year.
I knew we were in trouble when they didn't number the core toys. I was like, oh no, what have you done?
Lazy.
Oh, what have you done? Japan numbers them all. They have a completely different sequence than us. And so it all began with a little number called 94, because that's what Hatchet was. And it was supposed to be in a 2-pack with that Hound or something. It was supposed to be a Target
in the assortment.
Yeah. I don't know if they were separate or what, but it was supposed to be 94, and that's the missing Studio Series number. And the funny thing was that the instruction manuals that they showed at New York Comic Con said 94 on it, but Hatchet said 117. The outer box said 117, the inner box said 94. So, I mean, these things don't matter. They don't affect your playability of the toy or anything initially. But, like, the fact
Siri,
that
what's the score of the Yankees game?
You're not muted, buddy.
You are not. Why? None of us are called Siri.
That goes down in TFYLP history.
Told you not to call me that in public.
I know what I'm doing.
I'm losing my train of thought here. Sorry.
All right.
It's probably extremely boring. I'm mad about numbers. I mean, it's just sloppy. It's fucking sloppy. And like, why number it in the first place if you can't keep it up? It can't be hard.
It feels like an odd thing to drop.
Hey, is this like the Thrilling 30 when they didn't actually release 30 things?
Very similar. Very similar.
That was how many years ago?
Like I understand it when they have stuff like you remember back when the Star Wars Transformers crossover stuff, when those were big, those came for a few years. When they first came out, they had much more elaborate packaging. It was like this little spinner thingy in it or whatever. And over time, they simplified. They got rid of that. And I think they got rid of putting the little dudes in it that drive the mechs. They got rid of them over time. Like, I get that, stuff like that changes, but this is just a number on a box. Why would you stop? Japan doesn't have a problem, Well,
this is a Japanese tradition to do these numbers of products.
Yeah.
And there's lots of benefits to doing it, especially for longevity. But Hasbro doesn't care. Once they sell the product, it's gone, right? But like these numbered things, it makes having conversations or trying to find things online way easier. Like Siege through Kingdom, they all had numbers, right? And Legacy's like, fuck that, get rid of that shit, because they kept messing it up. They would still mess it up. They'd make a 2-pack, had one number, and then the next one, all 3 of the robots in it would have their own number. So it just like wouldn't make any sense.
Which in turn is getting assigned this day, and
yeah,
they don't talk to one another.
It's probably a marketing decision and not like anything else. But marketing has to relay this information backwards to production, at least so that the box says the number that they're going to say it is. And by the way, go to BBTS and look up Hatchet. What number does it have? This is a great example of the problem I'm trying to illustrate to you. They list the goddamn toy as 94 and show pictures of the box with 117. So like it was solicited to them in some sense as 94, or like somewhere along the way it was, that information was given to them, and then they put it into their system and then set it live, and they don't even realize the 94 is no longer correct.
They don't care. It's probably all automated import stuff. Yeah,
I'm sure they don't care much, but like, what happens on eBay when you don't put Transformers in the listing of your product? You're boned. This is not the same degree. You'll still be able to find deluxe. All the other things are there, but
it's a lot easier to search for SS117 than Transformer Scrapper, which is going to give you a lot of other stuff.
8621. Seems like that might be an important number for the the Transformer toy line as far as we are. It was so good that they said they had to do it twice.
So do we want to talk about the toys themselves? Move on from packaging?
I will say, Talib does say in the chat, they said he wouldn't have thought that the packaging was the anger point of Devastator. So I guess get into the toy itself.
Well, they fucked up the numbers on Devastator too, because one of the boxes says 1 of 6 and the other one says 1 of 5.
Which again makes me think this is pre-production stuff that they will.
I hope it is, because that is pretty embarrassing.
They did say in the stream that packaging was not final, so there's still hope. But
that one's just funny to me. That doesn't do much.
Yeah.
Does it say 1 of 5 and 1 of 6?
Yeah, look on the sides, or maybe you got to look at the video. But it says the same thing in the packaging on the website.
They're going to be released.
There's 5 products
with 6 figures.
Okay, Bone Crusher says 2 of 6 on the back. Oh God, this app is not great.
Yeah.
The other one says 1 of 5.
Scrapper says 1 of 5.
It's just funny, that's just hilarious to me. I am so sad that I know why a company this big shouldn't be dropping the ball like this. And I know this is little stuff, but it's cracks. It's cracks in the veneer here.
When they're selling,
well, yes, this is
when you're making like 20 or however many gajillion of thousands or whatever for Walmart and Target shelves, this crap doesn't matter. But if you're trying to show things off to collectors, these little things become more important, or at least more noticeable. And then you just look kind of dumb when you screw up really obvious stuff like that. It's like, do you not have at least 2 people look at this? The
guy,
person that makes it, someone
they
else
don't
to
have
check
2
it,
people. They don't have 2 people, Rob.
They don't have 2 people. You're right.
They don't have 2 people. But what is? I'm complaining about this stuff, but I would love it if they corrected it halfway through, because now you have that's a pretty cool variant. Like you have the fuck up and you have the fixed one. Like that's kind of stuff I'm into. I know that's stupid, but modern package variants like that don't happen very often.
So the actual Devastator toy. Like, what does everyone think about that? I feel like online it seems like a lot of people were kind of meh on the release. I think that.
But it also sold out a lot of
Right.
places.
Well,
So.
I was gonna get to that. So it seemed like everyone, was kind of, not so sure on the actual figure itself. I think there's a lot of people that were saying, oh, like, it's nice that I kind of get it at the scale that I want, that I felt like the Combiner Wars was a little bit too big. And some of the stuff, like, some of the proportions were a little bit weird on the original one. And so it's nice with that. But, like, for the most part, I don't really feel like no one was like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing ever. Whereas, like, the Commander class Optimus Prime that just came out, everyone has been saying that. And obviously, this isn't coming out until, next April? So there's still plenty of time for, the hype to build up or whatever. But, yeah, but then it went and sold out, like, immediately. So maybe there is the hype.
Poll says May 1st, so probably into March.
Yeah, I think it's somebody that isn't big on the main line, but I still have Unite Wars Devastator. That's one of my like regular mainline kind of boring things that I still have because I really like the toy overall, and I think it's a cool release, and I think it does stuff good enough that this one needed to do more to really like. It's like just kind of that typical like incremental upgrade stuff, right? And especially that it's a much higher price point than like a deluxe figure, which aren't as cheap as they used to be, anyways, right? And it's not a home run, I don't think. Like it's not like Bone Crusher, I think is objectively worse looking in robot mode. Like he looks really derpy.
And to be honest, this is the thing that kind of scares me at this point, right? We have a whole line of, like Earthrise toys or whatever that got replaced with Studio Series or whatever, right? And so that's why I'm just like, oh God, like, am I going to get the incremental update and then 2 years from now, I'm going to get the next one that is like what I actually want? And the answer is yes. That's probably what's going to happen, but...
I think in 2 years you'd get another deco. I don't think you'd get a whole new mold on this. So if that's something you're concerned about,
I don't know. They did that with Ironhide. They've done that with like plenty of figures.
But this is
not
Galvatron.
Not Galvatron.
Yeah. To me, I have a bigger gripe about the Studio Series Galvatron being a straight, reuse of the mold of Kingdom Galvatron. Including the pointless accessory guns, whatever. I think you're right. Bone Crusher looks just, the proportions are so weird with that the torso and the lower torso and the like the hips and whatever. It just he's just walking bow legged there. I will say from the comparison pictures I've seen of Scrapper, I think Scrapper looks a lot better, and I think Scrapper. One of the complaints with Combiner Wars, Unite Warriors, Devastator was how hollow those toys felt and were. And Scrapper certainly seems to eliminate that or minimize it, at least from the pictures I've seen.
I think you got to have that in hand to really know. You complain about no wrists, Christian?
No, he's got wrists, but both of them have giant wrist holes where their hands go, as opposed to having like panels that cover them. That's an Anna thing, and I will go ahead and put that in because I'm annoyed by it too.
I don't think the new Scrapper is just hands down better, like especially from the Unite Warriors one. Doesn't the Unite Warriors have elbows and the Combiner Warriors doesn't? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So like, especially if you got the Unite Warriors version, like I feel like they're both equal. They both kind of have some things that look a little better on one or the other. I just don't feel like it's like a grand slam. It is maybe overall incrementally better.
I think it's better after having looked at it.
Yeah.
Comparison. But like, I don't even want to have the doubt that this is not better than the piece of shit old one. And I love the old one too. So like, I'm so mad. Like, I'm sorry. Like I love the old Combiner Wars toy. Okay.
I really need to see long haul in particular, and also hook.
That's the biggest room for improvement. Long haul is bad,
Right. But
Well, they improve the Mixmaster foot is
and that's
Right.
that's like the second
Mixmaster
thing.
foot looks good. Yeah. The thing that this has made me realize is that I'm excited to have Devastator at the right size now, except it's actually the Constructicons who will be at the right size, and Devastator's too small, because Devastator and the Constructicons are not in scale. None of the combiner teams are in scale with the combiners they form. And I don't know why it's taken me this long to realize this, but like huge Devastator from Combiner Wars and Unite Warriors, that actually does make sense, except all the other combiners were smaller. But then the Constructicons that made him were way too huge. So like you kind of need both sets if you want to do a thing, which is how I ended up getting that undersized KO. But
well, I still
just
think that's
odd.
the real size that thing was designed at.
I agree.
You can,
Yeah.
I mean, everything can increase size except the screws, and that's how you know.
Yeah. The other gripe I have about it is another thing that Anna pointed out. Now I can't unsee is that the chest plate has the big old gaps from the G1 toy on top of it, which is not screen accurate. Like, just fix that. There's no reason to still have that. Just move it up so it covers that nonsense. Like, there's no reason to have that now. Quit it. So yes, Nona for DNA will fix that. And it's like, yay, I'm glad we can rely on them. We shouldn't have to.
This just shouldn't be so similar to the old
Right.
one. Like it's not. I
what
mean,
you just said and what Rob said. It should be a knockout, smackdown. Clearly this is the superior product. It's been 10 years.
well, they looked at the old one and they said, what can we do here? They didn't take it and remold it. They just they did what they did with Earthrise Starscream and the classic Starscream mold.
Yeah.
That's what they did here. And that was the
Yeah.
fucking wrong move. This is not what it doesn't look like how he looks in the movie at all. Like, why even put this in Studio Series? I don't like it at all.
So if this would be released in Legacy or whatever the heck I can't remember what the next toy line is.
Age of the Primes.
Age of the Primes. If you'd release that in Age of the Primes instead of Studio Series, would you have less of a problem with it?
I'd still think it was recursive, in a way that it shouldn't be, but I wouldn't have had this. It's my own fault. I see people fall into this trap whenever new toys are released. Like, this time it got me, like I'm pissed about something I haven't even seen in real life, but I get where they're coming from now. And I usually make fun of these people for not taking a chill pill, but I did a little bit, but we're talking about it. So I built up what it was going to be in my head so hard. This came out exactly how I imagined it would.
Right.
This Optimus Prime was almost it came out of my brain to, and I was like, wow, they did it. They're going to do the Devastator the same way. The end of this toy line is going to rule the earth. Galvatron, a new Galvatron. This thing's going to be awesome. Megatron, oh my God. Now I have no faith at all. We're going to get that stupid-ass tank Megatron again. And they're going to just say it's a leader, which they've already done 2 or 3 times, and it's a joke.
Right.
So this just, it's my own fault. I was expecting something as good as the New Age Devastator that looks like it walked off the goddamn screen. That's what I was hoping for. And that's not what this is. This is a recursive, too toyetic to a previous release, in my opinion.
And Paul, I think, your point about Studio Series Optimus, 86 Optimus being so great, like that, obviously set a high bar, but then also Motormaster and Menasor and the Stunticons set a really high bar as well. So the fact that we've had, all right, new Studio Series, really good. Even the remold that we got out of Springer, I think did an awesome job, which makes Galvatron feel such a slap in the face. And Menasor was such a good toy. Motormaster and the way that they made Motormaster is the commander class and everything for him. I I think it's a phenomenal toy. My hope is the rest of the Scramble City combiners are more like Menasor. I mean, Devastator is tricky because he is the 6-bot combination scheme. It's just not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Someone put it to me that it should have been 6 Voyagers, and it's not.
I mean, I'm looking at a comparison of the
it's
Menasor versus Combiner Wars Devi. I didn't realize how much smaller that toy is.
Yeah.
So like this Devastator is going to be so tiny compared to the Combiner Wars one.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, which, just helps reinforce what Christian was saying about the combined skill is going to be off. It's going to be wrong.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing too is like
Menasor. So if you have a shelf of combiners, they will scale well together. So you'll be able to have, recreate that scene, hopefully, of Menasor and Bruticus and Devastator fighting each other.
I don't know what that was.
That's a Bruticus sound.
Thanks for clarifying.
I do think that if you really want to recreate a Transformers the movie scene where you've got Devastator wrecking Autobot City, and you've got him, fighting up against the Dinobots or for the Dinobots because Snarl is absent. The Unite Warriors one or the Combiner Wars one can do that, and I think it will look really good for you to do that. Because the Dinobots are big. If you put those Dinobots, eater-sized Dinobots,
are not
with
be that
this
far
Devastator, it's not wrong. But if you, again, like I said, the Constructicons will be the right size. Devastator will not be the right size, and you just can't do that because mass shifting doesn't exist in real life. It just doesn't. You can't do it.
Not with that attitude.
And are they really not going to do those horns too? Like if they have the robot, the individual guys being the focus, and they don't.
That'll be the SDCC box set.
Oh yeah.
For you mainline collectors,
horns?
you're lucky. This original version doesn't have space mud all over it.
Oh yeah.
And battle damage.
I'm so glad those days are over. That was horrible.
I wouldn't say they're over. You just got lucky on this one set that they forgot
They
about.
haven't done Space Mud in a long time.
They haven't? Okay. I stand corrected.
But the Galvatron, if you want to come back around to that, I got the Space Mud version of that in Kingdom. I got the unspace mudded version in Legacy. And now I'm going to have to replace that one with this one that's actually the right color. And I didn't know the other one wasn't the right color. I never really thought about it. But it isn't. It's wrong. And this one's oh, this is what it should have been the time. So I'm upset about that, but not greatly upset, toy upset. I'm not oh, I'm so mad. It's just
right, but I mean,
obnoxious.
It's somewhat frustrating where, whatever, you go through 3 or 4 iterations of these toys, and then, I mean, whatever, we talk about it every time, so it is what it is. Type of thing. And if you if you only have one version of a thing, you're gonna be cool, this exists, right? And now that there was the Combiner Wars Unite Warriors Devastator, and then there's this, but that also came out a while ago, so there's new fans that are clamoring for Devastator, and I'm sure that the prices of the old Devastator was probably shooting up on eBay before they announced this, right? So I mean, that's the thing too, is that you have a new generation.
So the new one's so much smaller. I don't even think it's really going to replace that old one. I think that old one will still have a market just for being so much larger.
True.
They've
re-released that with what kind of display you're trying to make.
Yeah. It looks like you can get them loose complete for $250 or so, the Combiner Wars version.
Right, which is more than what this is. I think is this going to be $210? I think by the time you get everything. So,
you can even get the Unite Warriors box set for around $250. So
I don't know. I mean, the thing
about 4 years ago.
I feel like the thing about what they've been doing recently on some of these is the fact that they have set the bar so high on a lot of these releases. I feel like Studio Series historically for the Bayverse movies, right, are very accurate to the movies, the most of them. And I'm sure there's exceptions, but a lot of them do a really good job. And, a lot of that line, we've been pretty happy with for the most part. And then you get this, and like Commander class is kind of the same way, where I mean they are batting darn near 1,000 on Commander class, and then the best one they've released at all is the new Optimus, and then the fact that like this is gonna have a Commander class included with it, but like at the same time, until we actually get the stuff in hand, it's hard to say like, oh, maybe it'll be better than what we think in hand than like what some of the pictures that we're seeing.
It could be, but I wouldn't even just real quick. I wouldn't consider this is a dud. This is like not a Commander. Like the Commander that's coming out is not.
Right.
You can't put it in the same echelon as the rest of them. It's like a fake.
Well, like, right, because it's like, what, 2 Voyagers, and they even mentioned on the stream, they're like, wait a minute, like, it's $90, like, 2 Voyagers aren't 90, and they're like, don't worry, we're throwing some crap in with it, so that makes up the extra $20.
Combiner parts.
Yeah, it's the combiner parts.
Don't worry, we're fucking you a different way. Don't worry about that.
You'll like it, baby. Trust us.
Yeah.
So
just turn around.
What do y'all feel that the new one? So we mentioned like the Mixmaster foot. The Mixmaster foot is like, again, like the big, like the combined mode of the old one is the biggest eyesore, especially the truck cab. Looks just a really dumb looking foot.
Right.
The barrel isn't great either. But what is there anything else y'all feel the new one does particularly better than the original from the combined mode?
I feel like the silhouette, especially around the waist and lower torso, is more cohesive. The Combiner Wars, and maybe that's just because I'm looking at mine at an angle and I've got it like the waist turned a little bit, but it does. This one, that one feels like there's a little more gappage there than the new one's going to have.
And I think I would just laugh so hard if they went so toyetic with it. They're like, oh yeah, Long Haul's a big guy. They just made Fat Long Haul again and called it, this is Transformers the movie Long Haul. Then everyone will feel the way I do. They'll be like, this thing sucks.
I mean,
I think the original one's head is too small in combined mode, I've always felt. And so I think the head is a little better proportioned on the new one. They're honestly probably the same size.
I do want to mention, Rob. So I have like a couple $100 in upgrade kits on my original one. So like that, like I had the head fixed, I had the foot fixed, like all that. I also like can turn them into Prowlistator. So can this one? I'm sure there's gonna be an upgrade kit for this one. So
of course,
so we'll do that as well. So
that's interesting. I will be curious to see if someone does a Prowlistator head, because that's that whole moment is gone, and the IDW books are pretty well in the past now. So does anyone care?
That continuity is multiple comic revisions back or universes back. I completely missed out on this Unite Warriors upgrade kit. The extra foot cab looks so much better. That alone is probably worth the cost of admission.
If the arms move on the treads instead of above the treads, that will be better than. Do they not?
They certainly do not look like they do, because it looks like they remade how they did it before, because that's all they can do.
I really can't tell, because they're just standing there.
The way that
down.
Yeah, but if the treads moved, it would get in the way of the chest thing. So they designed it to not do that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, unless they just said, oh, you can just bend the chest forward when you need to rotate the arm forward.
I can't tell.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if...
That would require forethought, Rob.
Like, I wonder how they decided the release order. And so, like, do they think these are the 2 best robot modes? Which is pretty bad if they think Bone Crusher is one of the better robot modes. It's like, uh-oh. Again, Scrapper's fine. That's maybe a negative Nancy, though.
Well, I imagine Scavenger's going to be the same stupid wide birthing hip contraption, because he connects. He's going to connect the same way the other side does, because that's what they did last time. So expect... And plus, they always treat them like they're the same build, Scavenger and Bolt and.
But they're not.
Bone Crusher. No, they're completely different. It's like Bert and Ernie almost, from like a robot perspective. Bulldozers, Bert. And,
That's going to be
Ernie.
the first repaint set. Is the Sesame Street repaint set? They're all different Sesame Street characters.
I do think we have our best chance at getting the Redecos with this one, or at least a Redeco. Shattered Glass would be super cool. Just saying.
I'm actually bringing my Shattered Glass TFC Devastator. Yeah, Perseus. Still in the box with the upgrade kit and everything. I'm actually bringing that for sale. I can't remember.
So
it's
kind of
full market price. You know, a little under, but
I was going to mention Secret Kingdom in the chat was saying that his biggest problem with Combiner Wars Devastator is so hard to stay together in combine mode. And so, like, that's what he's hoping with the new one. I don't know. Mine, I honestly have not messed with mine in so long that I've kind of forgotten. But, like, did you guys have issues with that? Like, I didn't think it was horrible.
I thought the shoulders do separate a good amount.
Is it like if you're articulating it, it kind of comes apart?
Yes, exactly. And when you're trying to lift the arm,
chest falls off pretty easily.
Chest will fall off, and the treads want to move with the arm, even though the treads are supposed to stay put.
Yeah, I think my chest piece, would fall off too. So,
I mentioned these gaps. I mean, why?
I feel like that's my biggest issue with the figure is like I don't like that. I don't like the chest silhouette. Like, I wish that somehow they would have done something to fill the chest out a little bit.
This is left over from a 43-year-old toy. Like,
have a panel that flips down.
Or just move the chest up. Like, change where it mounts. This
technology doesn't exist yet, man. One day, maybe.
It's not screen. It's not. They didn't focus on what you'd think they'd be focusing on with this toy.
Right. Well,
it's just a bummer because Optimus was so awesome. You know, we were right there, but we flew too close.
Well, and I wonder too with this is if they were debating which line to release it in, you know, kind of thing. And they're just like, well, we got spots in Studio Series, so like let's do that instead of.
Do they have spots? They didn't even give them numbers. So
it's true.
What would the other line be? Legacy?
Well, because the other line is,
primes.
I mean, they're focusing on the primes or whatever in the other one, so I don't necessarily know that. I feel like all the G1 toys now they're just shoving into Studio Series 86 or whatever the new line is.
They're just like fast tracking the reruns, and they're like, oh, let's redo Combiner Wars in a sleeper way. You know, if they just didn't make it its own toy line, it's just weaved into everything else.
Right. Well, and they mentioned that on the stream as well, right? That there's more combiners coming. So, and we already know that too. I think Superion
is next year with one piece of Bruticus.
That's going to be Superion's going to be another one that is probably going to be disappointing because like the original one was actually good. Like that's the thing is Minosaur was refreshing because like the original one kind of sucked. And so we actually got a good one now, whereas like I feel like Superior and Devastator were going to be like, oh, it's not.
I think the Protectobots and Combaticons needed it more, but yeah.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, I'm so the original 4 Scramble City combiners and Devastator really honestly to a degree put me to sleep because it's like, how about we see those last 3? You know, a little like we've never seen original molds for you know, Pronicon, Abominus, and Computron. We get remolds that some of them are better than others, right? Some of them fit in better than others, but it's like, man, they never get that first class citizen, you know, from third party or mainline or anything. It's just like, oh, let's do those first 4 Scramble Cities and every now and again Devastator because he's more difficult because, you know, he's not Scramble City style. It is more challenging.
Well, and even then, as you started to get into like Bruticus and
and Predaking. Sorry, I know I was forgetting somebody.
And then as you get into with Combiner Wars, Bruticus and Defensor, you know, it's like, oh, Blades and Vortex, they can look the same. You know, they're both.
I mean, they are the same, right? I didn't think they had any differences at all.
But what I'm saying is like the G1.
I'm making a joke.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't. You were a little too dry there. Yeah, he's a rescue helicopter with missiles. Medevac. He needs the missiles. And then Hotspot and Onslaught and Combiner Wars sucked. I mean, neither of those looked like the robot modes did okay, but the vehicle mode's like, that's a fire truck if I take my glasses off and squint. So they did start to get lazy, sloppy, however you want to describe it, with the Combiner War stuff, with the kind of the second phase of the Combiners, with Menasor and Superion being sort of the first phase of the Scramble City.
I mean,
here's a question.
Sucked, but even then,
here's a question in this vein: how many of the aerial bots do you think are going to be unique? Because they are the easiest to get lazy with.
3.
Yeah, I think we'll get the Menasor.
You think Slingshot will have his own?
I hope so.
Skydive and Air Raid and whoever the other one is, they can probably all be the same.
You just got to remold the noses on and the wings. If you redo the noses and the wings, you can use the kind of the inner part of the bot the same way.
Well, it would be like Wild Rider and Breakdown,
Yeah.
Which they did a good. I mean, they're very different, but they're the same. Where the other two cars, there's 3 cars.
I think Skydive and Air Raid you could make share. Slingshot and Fireflight could probably share.
I mean, if you're brave enough, you only need 1 mold. And so, I think in that sense, I think Hasbro's pretty brave.
If they do it similar to Menasor, you're probably you're looking at 2 molds, one a mold for the arms and a mold for the legs,
and then the middle bot.
And then the middle bot, right. But in terms of the limbs, you can get away with 2 molds on Superion. And Superion makes it a little bit easier, because if you did again the torso and then you just swap out the nose, the head, and maybe the tail, you don't even necessarily have to swap out the tail. But if you did that, you could have the core bot and the transformation engineering all be the same. And there you go. So you get 4 toys with 2 molds.
So
or 2 engineering schemes.
Secret Kingdom in the chat says, God help us if they screw up on Leo Kaiser. Have they talked about doing that at all? Because they've been doing the Japanese stuff. He may just be speaking. If that comes to it, they better not screw it up, type of thing. But I didn't know. I
think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
They've done the other victory stuff, so I didn't know if I'd missed something.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen it yet for Transformers, but we did get the second, and this is not the one. We did get the second Marvel Legends. Not crowdfunding, but the major
HasLab?
order. No, not HasLab.
Oh, it's not even HasLab. Oh.
No, it's not HasLab. It's made to order. So you got Dragon Man, and then with the New York Comic Con, they announced the new Sentinel, the X-Men 97 Sentinel. So that's again a place where we maybe would get a Leo Kaiser at.
So one thing I just want to mention with all of our discussion and talk and criticism and all that type of thing, right? Is
how awesome the Fallen
Hasbro has not made truly terrible figures in a while. There's not pieces of complete garbage, I would say, for the most part. So I feel like when we're criticizing this type of thing that they're not advancing enough, I think that most people, the average consumer, when they go out and buy this on the shelf or whatever, are probably going to be more than happy with it. Well, oh, God damn it. Phil. Okay. All right. You got me.
Yeah.
You want to tell the audience what you just showed there,
Studio Series Steeljaw?
You got me, Phil. All right. So.
I agree with you, Lucas. I agree with you.
But for the most part, I think that
enough.
This will be a good Devastator. But how many Devastators have been released between Hasbro and third party, right? There's 15 or something like that, right? Over the years. And so I think that's the thing is that we almost kind of expect that there's going to be a level up every single time. And so that's where, you get a little bit annoyed with it when it isn't. Because I felt like that with the video game series releases, the War for Cybertron ones and Fall of Cybertrons. a lot of those releases I don't think are any better than the original ones that got released. And so this is the kind of the same thing where it's like, I feel like this is going to be different. It's going to fill a hole in a collection for people where they want that particular size. And I think it could be a good companion piece, like especially with the combiners, that it's like, okay, well, you can have individual bots and you can have your combined mode or whatever for, you know, a couple different releases. So from that standpoint, I think it's fine. But like, I think it's just that we were expecting more because we've seen some really cool stuff from Hasbro, especially again with that Prime. But yeah, but then Phil like throws in the extra, you know, whatchamacallit, the tapes, which are all garbage. So
Yeah, Rumble and Frenzy were solid.
He just made sure you knew that the specific statement you made was 100% incorrect.
yeah,
I agree with you. If you look at this,
God,
if you look at this from a complete mass market perspective, they nailed it. You know, like everyone's gonna be happy with this. The normies and even like this will attract new people to Transformers. This toy, I think that it's coming out. You know, like I said, I'm just too close to it and it's too darling to me. You know, it just didn't hit my, and I'll still get it because I collect Devastator, so I'm effed. You know, they got me.
No, I know.
Like you
Way to go,
wouldn't
Nick.
get it. We all ordered it. We're all sitting here complaining.
I did not order it.
Shut
Speak
up,
for
Rob.
yourself.
Don't prove me wrong.
Okay,
Right.
hey, I just still jawed you. All right, so
Yeah, that's the thing I think is funny is that we're all sitting there complaining about it, like, and all these people online, and then it immediately sells out. Like, so it's like, it doesn't matter, type of thing. And like, Talib in the chat too, it also said, do you think that they would have done this as a HasLab at like a $300 price point could have fixed the issues? Yes. However, I think that Devastator, they know that it's just going to sell like hotcakes at retail. And so they don't need to do a HasLab. I think that they somewhat released some of these HasLabs of a figure that's popular but not, you know, A-list. And so I don't know. It doesn't matter what they do for this Devastator. It's going to sell.
I think people would be upset if Devastator was locked behind a HasLab. It's an access issue for a more popular character.
What a novel statement. They would be upset no matter what the fuck they did as a HasLab. That is,
Right.
of course they would be
Everyone,
upset.
that group of people is always upset when there is a HasLab. You're right.
Yeah, it's just like, how dare you do this? That's what's interesting about what Phil was talking about, how Marvel is trying a new sales model.
The MTO model. I hope we get MTOs. I truly do.
I think that's the best thing for collector market. Like I've said this, you know, plenty of times. Like Super 7 has a lot of issues, right? But I've always loved that all their stuff is made to order. Like you never had a problem getting their stuff, and they, you know, target solely to collectors. NECA has done like a mix of store release, and every now and again they've done some stuff that's made to order, and it's just so much less stressful. You know, as long as you're patient, because you know that stuff's going to be a long time before it gets to you. But it's just how it is.
But I don't think you can do that with Devastator because we've already talked about 3 or 4 different redecos that they can do with this. So you can't do a HasLab or made to order toy that you're then going to produce with multiple redecos. So
I think you can.
Could. I mean, to me, that's a place to do the made to order. You do the G2 color as a made to order. You do
you and I talked about the remainder of the Stunticons when this first came up with Dragon Man, Phil.
Yeah.
Maybe oh my God, maybe that's how they'll release G2 Motormaster. That would be great.
Because that's the one that's been the complex one.
Where's that going to come from? It has like no slot to go in. Like no retailer is going to be like, yeah, we're going to do G2 Motormaster. Who?
Yeah,
you
Walmart
know, like,
had it and dropped it because it's, you know, a $90 thing. Yeah, and they don't want to do that. But MTO for Motormaster,
or it's like Shattered Glass Jetfire, and they just do it as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive.
Sure, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, you have this new venue for these kinds of things. But I think for a figure and character like Devastator, they're probably going to do multiple runs of this. They did the Menasor box set. We'll probably get some sort of box set of Devastator.
We'll do the retro boxing.
You know,
they spoke about this on the stream, or not. It wasn't a live stream. It was the back and forth with Evan.
2 years.
What they
What?
say?
They said they wouldn't do a box set within the first 2 years.
But yes, also though they said that they made a point. This was in the actual stream. The marketing guy that's in there, that I've never seen a marketing guy in these things before, but he said,
He was in San
So
Diego. I wanna
BMAC,
say.
he's in all of them until recently.
I think
BMAC came off as like a fellow, like,
Yeah, but he is
Well,
marketing.
he's a brand
He's just
manager.
he's different team now.
We don't
Yeah,
work
he's
there. We don't know.
just-
Sorry, I'm splitting hairs for you. Please make your point. I'm
This
sorry.
guy said he's from marketing. Okay,
Yes.
BMAC says he's brand manager, or whatever he is. So, and that's not a slam on anyone. Okay, I'm just saying that that's what they said. And he mentioned how they're changing, like they're changing sales cycle. Like, he didn't say exactly this, but it sounded like they said like we're reducing the waves to 3 a year instead of 4 going forward. And they also said they're not rerunning figures, at least this year. They just all the stuff they're talking about is for 2025. Doesn't mean it's like forever after.
No repacks in subsequent waves.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Jazz is a repack of a previous toy, but it's not going to be redone. And they're saying they're not going to put like Bone Crusher in wave 5 or 6, as
Right, he's
as
in
a
wave
filler.
1, and then he's done.
Yeah, so if you don't get it now, you're kind it's going to be a while until it comes out again.
The thing that was weird to me when they said that there's only going to be 3 waves, and I thought they had said the waves was going to be April, July, October. And I feel like it usually shows up before that, but like that makes no sense to me, because if October is supposedly the last wave and it usually a lot of times shows up in September, right? Like, what the heck is going to be on the shelves for Christmas? Like, what wave is that going to be? Is that just going to be a rerun of the last wave, or what?
They're kind of being semantic with it. There's always a wave that's like kind of passed over in January. Like all this other stuff is coming out in January, but now they're talking about the first like real releases of 2025. The January wave is like December to January to February.
Right.
So there will be another wave there, but it's going to be, they're putting a delineation. Maybe that's the end of the Studio Series line or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or you're just you're absorbing the Studio Series stuff more amongst each other, which would make sense from the marketing and packaging point of view. That you get rid of the numbering, you homogenize the packaging a little bit more, so that you can put it out. Because I mean, if you look at it, April. So let's just say spring, summer, and fall/winter. What you have there: Easter, back to school, Christmas. Those are the 3 like big shopping cycles that they're going to put out waves for. Is what I see that as.
I read it as we're getting less product than they have been. I mean, they've definitely they're making moves. Like ever since the new CEO came in, I think we're seeing the fruition of whatever plans were laid in place when we lost Goldner and got Cox. It takes a while for like cycles to shift, and so now we're seeing new people put in place, and they're making what I would consider pretty sweeping changes to the brand and the way they sell this product.
And honestly, I feel like I sound like Nick when I say this, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little bit less stuff coming out, because goddamn, there's a lot, and it's pricey and expensive. And especially if you're still going to do the Amazon or Walmart or Target, releases, we're not going to be lacking for new toys to pick up.
Well, one thing I feel like I noticed, and I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like especially with the Studio Series and Legacy lines, is I actually don't see them that much on the shelf. Like I feel like that they drop, they come out, and then they're gone. And like a lot of what I see is I see the kids line, I see the exclusives. But like I don't know, I feel like a lot of times that those waves, because it's like they kind of drop at one time and then they're gone. Like so I think that like if a wave could actually stay around a little bit longer, and then maybe they actually reorder that same wave, again, like from the warehouse or whatever, when it like runs out. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing.
Maybe they finally found a better balance between supply and demand for the line. I mean, because they don't want stuff sitting around on shelves. That's the
Right.
worst. You know, and so much they do so much of their own stuff online now too. Like, I don't partake in it, but I hear all the wailing and the wallets crying when they do all their big reveals and they're like coming out at 2:00 today, and it's like people are like spending like $400 on all the latest stuff that just came out. You know, so I wonder if retail has a decreased presence for their more collector-oriented lines.
I mean, the only reason to keep the stuff in a retail position is to get people that aren't us, because what you just described,
Right.
we're the ones that are so rabid about it that we'll put a timer on ourselves. Like, we'll adhere to a timing thing.
Setting your alarm to make sure to log onto the site 2 minutes early and
Yeah, I mean,
get ready.
If you run a business or work with people and you get anyone to like jump through those kind of hoops, like, you got it made. You got something good for that, for your audience. But those people aren't. A lot of people, a lot of collectors I know are like, I don't go to stores ever. Like, they just don't. Like, their wife does the grocery shopping and they never leave the house because they work from home, or something like that.
That's me.
And so
when Amanda goes to Target, she'll do Ninja Turtle check for me in NECA. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the only reason I really go into any of these stores is for toys. But like, that's not normal. That is abnormal. Like, it's usually, now that I have a daughter, she always wants to go down the doll aisle, right? So now I'm like,
I don't think it's that abnormal anymore. I think I know we do it, and we're not the only ones. A lot of people get all their home goods from like Amazon. It just shows up at their door.
Well, I'm saying what's abnormal is going to stores for toys.
Oh, sorry.
As much.
Got it. Sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were saying the other way around. Okay.
I'm saying it's a me problem.
I do want to mention, circling back, that marketing guy. That marketing guy had like a really sharp T-shirt on. I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah,
tickled my fancy.
T-shirt. So yeah, I don't know.
I hope we see more of that guy. I hope he's like part of the club.
Yeah, he's new. We saw him first at San Diego, so he's like around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's
so
nice.
I feel like a casual because I did not watch the stream for 1027. Like, at San Diego, he seemed much more like a marketing dude and not like, BMAX seemed like a fan as well as a marketing guy, but almost more like fan first. And same thing kind of with the Marvel Legends team and the G.I. Joe team for that matter. But the Transformers guy, maybe it's because he was new, just felt like, yeah, let's get along. Let's keep this moving. Let's keep this going. We got stuff to talk about. Was he like that again Sunday?
He was better this time.
He was better this time. Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, you can tell. Like, I feel like BMAC like collects Transformers, but like that's not his first love. Like, you can tell G.I. Joe is his first love, and that I'm sorry.
Well, maybe he's just that good at it, Lucas. Maybe he's just that good at his job. He's convinced you the new line he's on is his first love.
So.
I think there's two ways to read this to me. It's either like, hey, we made all this dynamic shift in our brands, and like someone from marketing has to be part of the fan, or like someone has to have a direct line from marketing because that's been a missing piece,
Mm-hmm.
Or this guy stepped up and he's like, no, I want to be on screen because I do like this stuff, and I hope it's that. I hope he's like, he wants to be, in touch with the customers. That'd be cool.
I will say it is refreshing, the like a lot of the interviews and podcasts that the team has done, right? The designers, like Evan and Mark both, and BMAC, like all those guys have been on, I think they've been on the Triple Takeover podcast. They've also been like, I feel like it shows and everything too. And not to say that the old guard wasn't. Like, I feel like that the older guys would always do it like at the reveals and shows, and that outside of that they weren't doing like media releases, whereas I feel like that Mark always is pretty active on Instagram, and like a lot of the podcasts and stuff. So like I really enjoyed. They had an episode I think maybe a month or two ago on Triple Takeover where they did an interview with Sixo and those guys.
What is that you're referencing, Lucas?
Triple Takeover podcast.
A what?
There's a podcast that's like another Transformers podcast called Triple Takeover.
You watch other Transformers podcasts, Lucas?
Not normally, but they were doing an interview, so I decided to listen to it. So
there's nothing to watch, Phil.
You're sleeping on the couch, Lucas.
Sabertron has a podcast as well, so I listen to that one every once in a while too.
Yeah, but their casts are a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, that's true.
We've been talking about Devastator this whole time. There was one more thing at 1027. Mark had his own thing.
Oh, the good thing.
The good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mark had his own thing outside the office, recorded separately from everybody else, and he showed us Megatronus, the leader from Age of the Primes. And it's nice that after, 7 years, there's finally literally one good use of blast effects.
I was wondering, Christian, what you were going to think about this, because it actually looks really cool.
A bunch of fire to be the Fallen, and it's great. I love it. It's the only time blast effects have been good. So, yay.
Did they mention, is this a remold of either the War for Cybertron, Megatron?
No.
It looks like the tank mode shares some similarities.
It does. They're both little H-tanky kind of things. It looks like the arms kind of form the same way, but
yeah, exactly. The arms, like the way they fold up.
I would say this is not a remold at all.
Okay.
And if you're right, Phil, that sucks. But it doesn't.
If you're right, it does suck. It does look good though, so I guess
remold if it was. Like my first thought is like, wait, is this a remold of Armada Megatron? But the more I looked at it, the more it reminded me of War for Cybertron Megatron.
I don't think so, but I see what you're looking at. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
And the package showed Liege Maximo, which is cool, and Star Convoy, which looks cool.
Oh, it did?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the back?
On the side, it's the art.
Yeah. It's like the
we don't know that they're
statues.
Toys. But
they're toys. It's like the gold statues from Transformers the movie. They look like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's who I thought. Okay.
So it's Liege Maximo, Megatronus, and Star Convoy.
Have we ever seen Liege Maximo's alt mode?
No. We only got that one image of him at the end of the G2 run. And so like that's right up my alley. That's pretty interesting. I can't imagine they'd give him a unique mold, like without like an intention of using it somewhere else. But they've been doing that with Straxus and Giaxus, so maybe somebody just really into it,
Straxus is a retool, and Giaxus got retooled, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're right about Straxus. That's right. It's just so good that I didn't even realize.
It is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, because Liege Maximo is such a out there design for a Transformer.
We don't even know if it was a Transformer.
Yeah.
He was just a bad guy. For all I know, he was half organic. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he was slimy.
Yeah.
They've kind of retconned him into the Loki of Transformers, though, now, which is...
When did that
happen? IDW book.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while. The DK Transformers guy did that back in, 05, 6, something like that, 4. Been a bit.
Yeah, they might. I would imagine some of those will be remolds and might have to be like exclusive sets or something this year. And
I think we'll see some sharing.
I'm quite sure that you're supposed to consider Vector Prime, that's currently out, as the Prime precursor.
Yeah, so grab him. If you want all the Primes, get Vector Prime before you can't get Vector Prime.
Gonna be bizzle boned.
But I think Alphatron. No, we have a listing for a new Alphatrion, so I don't think it'll be the Studio Series Scourge thing that we got last year. I think it'll be something different.
Or maybe it is, and they just tweaked.
Maybe it is.
They just trim his beard differently.
Maybe. But I'm
That should
excited
be the
about
name
that
of this
line,
episode.
like aerial bots and primes, and also Wasp. So yay. But
Yeah,
not sure shot. Never sure shot.
Wait, Sure Shot's
Poor
not
Sure
coming
Shot.
out now?
No, sure shot got moved out of the wave again.
Oh man.
He was supposed to be in the Armada Wheeljack G2 Breakdown Cosmos wave, but then they put Origin's Bumblebee in it instead. So, where's Sure Shot? He's been moved three times now?
He's
That's-
Studio
that-
Series 94.
I was gonna
They're just
say, is
getting
this like a Milton thing? On The Office? Or Office Space, I mean.
Oh, they just put him in the basement.
Right.
Where's
right,
my
right.
staple? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he'll eventually come out. I mean, surely he's tooled if he's been solicited that many times. So
Right. You'd hope.
someday. Sure shot.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like with this Megatronus, I'm actually excited for this line, so
It
we'll
looks
see.
good.
So,
Yeah, I think it looks cool. I like the packaging. The artwork is amazing. Like the best Transformers artwork I think I've ever seen.
so,
I'm guessing that's Marcello Materi again. Recent
At least-
Hall of Fame inductee, Marcello Materi.
At least the line work. I don't know if he does all the finishing, but like
I think you're right.
specifically, I think the finishing is incredible. I mean, it's all of it's good.
Yeah.
Did Pat Lee have anything to do with that design?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's either him or
Very
Don.
Originally, not this one. It's probably Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Don. And then, but I'm sure Pat Lee had to kind of approve it. I mean, that was a big deal. It was a new character, right? It was like
Oh yeah.
it was like Drift or something. Like there was.
Yeah. No, that was kind of like the first time the comics had done that for. Well, no, I shouldn't say it because they did that in G2, but that was like the first like new dude in that iteration of Dreamwave, of the Dreamwave books.
Well, I want to check something, but like I would say it's almost arguable that that character was created in preparation for the movie.
No, that was way too early.
Was it?
It's
Yeah.
6 years, so maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. They weren't even really movie wasn't even really on their radar at that point. I just
No.
was so annoyed when they showed the title of the second film, Revenge of the Fallen. I was like, "Oh my god, are they doing a play on words? Are they going to use the Fallen in the second Transformers movie? We're in trouble if that's the case." And then it
And we
totally
were.
was, and we were.
I was like, oh no, it's definitely got to be the dead guys from the first one. They're back and something crazy's happened.
No, and then like it was so frustrating because the first movie posters had a Decepticon symbol head a la Tarn, and then the actual Fallen that we got was just like, "Duh!"
But also Tony Todd.
What?
Tony Todd, Candyman, Final
Oh
Wrestling.
yeah, the voice of him, yeah.
I mean, what's weird, it didn't work for the Fallen. It was like, time has passed, so now it's just like written into history, right? But it did not work. And it did work for like Lockdown, and he was even newer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's not like they just didn't do it well. They did
Same
it way
age.
too early. Same age, really?
Yeah, 2003 or 4 to 2009, and then 2008 to 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same age.
Well,
did
I'm
the
just saying it
quick math
worked.
in my head. So,
Then
yeah.
it's very similar,
Yeah,
except the stage of the brand at which these characters were created.
it's different. Yeah,
That matters. But the Lockdown worked, and the Fallen did not. Anyway.
this new Megatronus, who is the Fallen, has a staff type weapon. So yay.
Can you rip his face off?
Probably not.
Okay.
And they have maintained calling his arm cannon the Requiem Blaster. That's from the Conan Primus book. So they're pulling pieces. I think they're going to go back to the 13R, like a singularity kind of thing, which is good.
I also noticed that they gave it a preface of the 13 Megatronus the Fallen. I mean, it's interesting. Like we were talking about, what is the name of the product earlier? Like, it's interesting what they chose to do here.
The next one will be like Solus Prime, 2 of 12.
No. It's not numbered. It's like they are the 13 is what they're calling them. They could have called them the 13 Primes. It's just the 13.
I think because they dropped Prime from all of them, like Liege Maximo Prime is not a thing. That's not Megatronus Prime anymore. It was briefly. So, yes, some of them are Primes. I think they've gone back to making Prima Prime, unless it's just Prima. That's the weird one.
Yeah, I wish it was just.
Wait,
it should just be Prima.
Primus the Prime, or is Primus?
Primus created the Primes, the first of which is Prima.
Okay, so Prima. I didn't hear the A at the end.
And that's the only part of the legacy that I'm into, is that Prima is the first Transformer ever made. But he wasn't a Prime originally, so... Me.
So he's the first one the Quintessence built?
No.
Oh. No. I thought the Quintessence made the Transformers.
It's too late for this.
Quintus Prime made
We're
the
on 2 hours
Quintessence,
plus
so
here.
there you go.
I was gonna say, I think we probably need to wrap up this having 2 topics or whatever on show. Phil, you were so worried last week. You're like, oh, are we gonna have enough time to fill an entire show? Then now we have 2 topics and we go 2 hours.
But guess what, guys? I'll see you
wasn't on
all
last
on
week.
like Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
So
wow, everyone on
Dudes,
this
if you're
screen
there,
is going to be in
you
real
can see us
life.
too.
That's gonna be
Assuming
crazy.
one of us doesn't crash in a fiery ball of flame on the way there.
And that
Yeah.
your plane doesn't do the same.
Right.
Yeah, I
think that's
do
what
want
he
to
meant.
mention too that if anyone sees
Please,
us, like, say hi. Make sure.
Yeah, do
you
say
come
hi.
up
We like saying
and
hi
say
to
hi
people.
and
I
all
like
that.
waving.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that anyone listening to the podcast or whatever version of this, who knows if it's going to be up before the show, before TFCon, but
Just put it up, Lucas.
right. But I mean, I don't know that someone's going to get through the 2 hours of show that I put up last minute or whatever. But
They will if they're driving across the country to get to the
that
show.
is true.
They're
That
waiting
is
in the
true.
airport for their flight.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, yeah, so
Yes, if you see us,
any of the
come
cast
say hey.
members,
If you want.
say hello, bring us gifts, money, gift cards, toys. We'll accept all of it. Tell Peter you want to see him again on the show. That'd be fun.
Yep.
Rick and Peter will be there. Sergio will be there. So if you want to see Sergio on the show some more, tell him to leave his real job behind and come talk to us about nerd stuff. Anyone else from the cast? Swiftcraft will be there, which some of us have not met him in person.
Rick will be there. I mean, we said that already, but
I said Rick. Yeah. I said
Everyone post in the TFYLP socials that Anna should go because she's in debate on it right now. So
yeah.
I think she's got some
everyone
real
make a
life stuff.
campaign for Anna to be
Yeah.
there.
I think she-
No.
I don't think she wants that pressure right now, guys.
Yeah.
So maybe don't do that.
I think that's everyone we know who's going to be there from the show.
Oh, I did confirm. So my friend Aaron, that usually has a booth, a bunch of G1 stuff. He's gonna have a booth there, and Richard is going
Sweet.
to be there as well. So
Oh, and our
Nice.
social manager Antoine will be there. We talked to him earlier in the show.
Earlier,
Yeah.
I want to be there. Say hi to him.
And get your
Yeah.
picture. Antoine
Yeah,
loves
get your
taking
picture
pictures
done.
with everybody, and he always
Oh,
has
yeah.
this awesome, big photo dump he'll do at the end with saying hi to everybody.
I got
BP
so
will
many-
not be there, sadly, I must say, if you know who that is.
I got so many Antoine Facebook memories over the past week and a half or so, and it's
Right.
like, yeah, we got all those
Yeah.
cons. It's great.
That's awesome.
We're gonna do a live
Thanks,
record
Antoine.
from there,
Looking
right?
forward to seeing you.
Are we
No.
even gonna put up? Are we even putting up the pretense that we're gonna try to do a live record?
No.
No. No. You know
Got
what we
stuff to
should
do.
do? I already said we're gonna do this, right? Is that at the booth that I'm gonna do a reaction video reacting to Paul, reacting to Phil, reacting to Christian, reacting to Rob. So we might do that.
What am I doing to get a reaction?
Have you not have you not
We
seen
are
these reaction
reacting to your
videos and
flapjack
reaction to reaction
backstack.
videos?
No, and it's too late for it. I want to go to
Rob?
bed.
Okay.
I want to go to
It's over.
Yeah.
All right.
Another thing to be said, we're going to be in the dealer room. I really hope that they pulled me a solid and put us all together.
Yeah.
But it's up to the gods, you know, like
Yeah.
the TFCon gods. I can't make them do that. But if we're all together, it'll be a lot easier to, like, you know, if anyone's watching wants to come say hi, we'll all be in the same spot, and that could be really fun.
Yeah, TFCon is a little more serious than DairyCon, where we would just go and pick up like the name tags off the tables and move them.
Yeah. I mean, you could ask, right? You know,
Yeah.
like, but I have a feeling I'll be in a. I mean, I don't know if there are any non-optimum spots in a TFCon dealer floor. Like, I've never had a dealer table and been like, man, I wish I was over there. You know,
Yeah,
I'm always
honestly,
like, hey, this is great.
The
I
way
just want to be
Chosen
by
Prime-
you guys.
I feel like the Chosen Prime display is always really obnoxious, to be honest, and the way it like disrupts the whole room, that like everything ends up being about the same. Like, maybe there's some spots that are a little better, but most people were going to walk the floor anyways. As long as you're not in a spot that like isn't easy to make in a loop, you know, I think you'll be all right.
Paul's booth is going to be in the freight elevator.
Well, see, I mean, yeah, that's a bad spot when they split a floor up. You know, like sometimes that
Oh my
happens
God.
at shows. Like that's a bad when you're in a bad spot. Like that's really a problem. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure there is a bad spot at TFCon. I just want to be by my friends. You know, because
Yeah.
then it just makes the whole thing easier.
It's more fun too.
It's absolutely more fun. More beers in the cooler. Oops.
There we go. All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining me. I'm so excited to see you guys in a few days. And hopefully we see some other people there too. And we'll see everybody next week.
Like, subscribe,
Oh, yeah,
comment.
like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, smash the
Night, everybody.
buttons. Have fun with that.
Bye.
See you, Rob.
Bye.